Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. This is Nicole Harvick. I am your host for the Change Book International podcast. And as hard as this is to believe, this is our last one for 2024 as we roll into 2025. And you know that every Monday I bring you amazing guests, amazing co-authors, and today is no different. And today I want to introduce one of those people. This is Lynn McIntosh. Lynn, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate you having me on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm so excited to get to know you. And one of the things we always like to know is what made you pick the Change book?
I think it was sort of, to be honest, the change book picked me.
Oh, I love that. Tell me about that.
Well, I got a message from Karen Butler back in July, and
That was my girl too.
she said, I've been looking through your content, and I really like what you're doing. Helping others, sending out good vibes, good mental health. You know, um, healthy mind and body, and yeah, and helping others. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And she said, um, I'm just going to pass this by you, but there's a book series, and you'd be a good you'd be a good chapter in it. And I said, oh, and I said, tell me a little more. So she told me about the change, and she told me about Jim Lutz and Jim Britt, and Jim Britt being Tony Robbins' mentor and all that. And so I said, wow, like, and I was honored, right? Like I thought I guess I was doing a lot of content over the last 4 or 5 months, and I guess she had noticed it. Like I was really plugging out some content that was trying to capture the pain of what I do. So I guess she saw something. So yeah, and so she said, the two gyms give the green light, if you'd like to, come into and be a chapter in volume 22, then we'd love to have you in the book. And I said, wow, thank you so much, right? So I looked into Jim Britt and Jim Lutz, and everything was real. And I just decided, yeah, like this would be a no-brainer, right? Like, why should I not do this? Like, what are the reasons? There's none, right? So,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
I have your bio and I couldn't agree with her more. I read it and I'm like, ooh, sounds fun. So I've been really looking forward to meeting you. So
Yeah, you
let's
too.
start with you because this is all about you. And one of the first things I saw is that you're a certified coach and hypnotist, which of course got my attention because our Jim Lutz is a hypnotist as
Mhm.
well. So can
Yeah.
you tell us about that?
Yeah, Jim's mentioned that to me as well. Like he likes that idea, of course. But yes, well, when I was healing from narcissistic abuse about maybe 8 years ago, I needed to up my mindset. So there's a man on YouTube, Michael Seeley, and he's an excellent hypnotist. Excellent. So I started just lying back on the pillow, putting on his script and his music and his words, and I found it really resonated with me. And I really would literally go into a light sleep, still awake though. And I came out, and after day after day after day of doing this, I became happier. My mindset started to shift. Um, I started to feel more hopeful. I started to feel more positive. Like I felt, you know, uh, just my whole mind was changing, right? So I thought, this works. This really works. Like this hypnosis. So I said to myself, you know what? In a year or two, I'm going to get my certification. I want to be a hypnotist along with being a coach. So I sort of put it to the side for about a year. And then just before COVID hit, I decided I'm going to go get it. So I was referred to, she's Russian, and she lived in Russia. She became a mechanical engineer, and then she didn't like it. She found it boring. So she says, I'm going to become a hypnotist and I'm going to teach it. So she was my teacher up here in Toronto, and an excellent teacher. She does everything, stop smoking, stop eating, stop this, stop that. So I really learned from a really good teacher, and I truly believe in it because it worked for me. So yeah, and
Wow.
my coaching program is actually my journey to healing. So I know it works, right? Because I've done it. So yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting here being interviewed with a smile on your face, so I'm going to have to go with that assessment. It looks like it worked really, really well.
Yeah.
And I know some people are a little bit that I've found are a little bit resistant to hypnosis. What is that fear base that they're going through when you say the word hypnotize? Where does that come from?
Well, I think some people might think that they might lose control of what they're
Mm.
thinking, hypnotizing. Oh, like, what's she going to do to me? Is she gonna take away the control? Like I'm not going to be able to, you know, like well, like they get scared of losing control of like being under hypnosis, or they think of that with the bell and ding 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 ding. I am putting you under hypnosis, and then it's not like that. Like, and I tell them that because a lot of them do think hypnosis. Oh no, it's like that ding ding, and it's not like that. And from the method I've learned, it's not like that at all. And you decide when to go under hypnosis. It's not me telling you to go under, it's you deciding when you decide when you want to go under hypnosis. So it's not nothing to do with me controlling you or telling you what to do or anything like that. So, and when they hear that part of it, that it's actually you doing the work, then they go, oh, really? Oh, wow. And then their whole mindset shifts towards maybe a positive reaction towards hypnosis, right?
Yeah, that's wonderful. I have used hypnosis for many things, and I find it incredibly effective.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there's no fear.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things you just brought up too was the word narcissist,
Mm-hmm.
and that was my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I still find myself sometimes like when I'm driving, of all times, maybe there's some highway hypnosis to that. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll pop up. It'll pop up from a long time ago because my journey started in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
How does one find that deep seated or rooted emotion to bring that forward and get rid of it?
You mean to get rid of the narcissistic abuse?
Yeah, yes, the trauma that is associated with that.
Well, I think for a lot of people, and not just me, but a lot of people, they reach a point where they just have had it, like the feelings of self doubt and anxiety that the narcissist puts into our head and makes us want. They're projecting their pain onto us. That's all. That's all they're doing. So what we're doing is we're living someone else's pain, and why we have our own pain. We don't want to live two people's, because narcissists can't introspect and deal with their pain and say, gee, I have a problem. Let's work on this. Let's see if I can fix it. They can't do that. It's just constant denial. I'm fine. I'm great. You're the problem. It's all you're to blame. So they shift everything onto you. And I think a lot of people that are on the other side, like getting the abuse, they get fed up because they as time goes on, they start to see the light, right? Like there's something off here, right? I'm not doing anything, and they're telling me I'm doing all this, but I'm not doing anything. I know I'm not, and so you start to figure it out, right? What's actually going on, and then you come. I can, like me and a lot of others, they come to a point where, geez, I know exactly what this person is doing. I'm going to get myself going here and get my up my game and get out of this mess. And and the first step is, of course, to go no contact or go little contact. If you can't go no contact, go small contact, right? But um, yeah, you figure it out, and you figure out, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to be the scapegoat. Um, and I've changed a lot because I really see now, like I have like a narcometer, right? So I can detect,
I love that. I think I might have that too.
Mm,
And the whole time I was married, I did not even know what that word meant. I'd really never heard of it. But
yeah.
I thought, man, I knew in my heart that there was manipulation. It's like,
Yeah.
how could I always be wrong? How can he always turn this on me? And they
Mm,
do, and they're very, very good at it.
that's
And one
right.
of the things I noticed in your bio is you work with men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So has a man ever come to you that is a narcissist and want to heal himself?
No. And the chances of any man or woman coming to me and saying, I'm a narcissist, I want to heal, the chances of that are very, very, very low, because narcissists just don't do that. And a lot of psychotherapists and psychologists that I followed on YouTube that have big YouTube channels, they say the same thing, that, and even if a narcissist will go into counseling, they end up coming out like screaming and I'm not going to do this. This is all, blaming me for this, and I didn't do that. This is crazy. I'm not going to do this. And so
Yeah.
um, they won't take counseling. They won't. Um, Very, 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 very small percentage of narcissists will change and say, like, you'll never hear a narcissist say, Lynn, I'm so sorry I hurt you. I feel so bad. Like, I'm so sorry. I want to make it up to you, and I'm going to change, and I really mean it, and they're sincere. You will never hear a narcissist say that, never, because they don't have the introspection. And it's a dream. You want to hear it. How many times, like we've wanted to hear that, right? And it'll never happen because they just don't do that, right? They're not capable.
Yeah, and speaking from my experience, that's exactly what I experienced, because, part of my healing was doing my own mirror work, looking at me and taking blame where
Mhm.
there was blame,
That's right.
knowing that deep inside me, I wanted to change. I didn't like the person I'd become. And
That's
so
right.
I started the work.
Hmm.
But, you know, when something always has to be cast upon the other person and you can never take blame for anything, I don't, mine certainly didn't change. And what you're saying really rings true with me, that they never know they're the problem, do they?
No, and a lot of women and men that approach me say, I don't know what happened, but I when we got married, it was great. We were so in love, we were so happy. Everything was great, and then now he's so mean. We don't connect, we don't talk, like, and they are literally saying, I do not know what is going on. I don't understand what this is, and they're totally lost in space. They don't have an idea. They might suspect narcissism, but I think when you're in the relationship, you don't always see it for what it is. You see it for how you want it to be, or and yeah, I don't know what's going. And I know one Facebook group has 530,000 members in it or something.
Oh my gosh.
And one Facebook, a lot of them have 40,000. A couple have 70,000. So this is a widespread problem, and people are suffering, and they don't know. They don't know how to heal. And if they get someone, that says, "Oh, I'm going to help you heal," you have to make sure that this person has had personal experience, because a therapist says, "I'm going to help you heal," and has never been through narcissistic abuse, they can't help you heal, because they don't know what it is. What They don't know the pain. They don't know the feeling of rejection, the feeling of not being heard, the feeling of being invalidated, the feeling of being invisible, the feeling of being demeaned, like, so it's just crazy, right? Uh,
Yeah, it really is. And every word you just said, I can resonate with, because at one point I was there, but
mhm,
I didn't know it. You just kind of, oh, well, gosh, if I do this, it'll please him. Or if I do that, it'll please him. And it's just like, I look back and I wasted so much time trying to please a person I could never please.
mhm.
And so it took a toll on me. And one of the things that I saw in your bio is you help people release that negativity to bring them back to self-worth. How do you do that?
Through like hypnosis, and through I know what I did a lot of times was, you do a lot of a mind, like even things like acts of gratitude. What you have to do is come out of your own head, because when you're
Mm.
narcissistic abuse, you're in your own head. So to help yourself, you have to get out of your own head. So even like I have things like acts of kindness, making a gratitude journal. Um, there's a lot of things I have in my program that helps you to, you're in your own head, and what you have to do is get out of your head and realize, you know, you have to get, when you're narcissistic abuse, you're in it. But what you want to be is, you want to be out of the circle looking in, and you're seeing what's going on, but you're not involved with it, right? That's what you want. So yeah, my program has like, it's work, because you have to want to heal, you have to want to change it, and it is change, and you have to want it. If you
Yeah.
don't truly want it, then it won't happen, because it is work. But I do have some things in there that are fun, and that make it fun and enjoyable. But a lot of it
Good.
is work, and standing up and saying, I'm not going to take this anymore, and either leaving your partner, or a lot of them do leave their partner. They end up leaving them. So it's taking a stance, and it's saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to take this anymore, and I'm going to stand up for myself. And you have to want that, right?
Yes, yes. And one of the most important things when I finally took that stance was learning to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I never really loved myself. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And as I look back, I'm like, well, no wonder I let that happen, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But can you expound on your workshop, or whatever you want to course, whatever it is that you're offering, and where do you start and where do you end with this?
Well, it's called Reclaiming Your Life and Joy After Leaving a Toxic Relationship. Yeah. So the very first module is a whole video of a whole interaction with my client. It's all about them. They tell me the story. They tell me their past. They tell me how they met the narcissist. They tell me, the stages of the relationship. They tell me the pain they're feeling. What are you feeling? What are you wanting to heal? What are you desiring in your life? What changes do you want to make? So it's all about them, and what they're looking for, and the changes they want to make, and to be like to have a better life. And but my first, it has four modules. The first section, so it deals with the past of the client.
Mm.
We deal with the past, and then the last section is closure from the past. So we talk about their past and whatever. And then the middle section is the present. So that's when we start doing activities, we start doing practices, we start doing things that up the mindset, the self hypnosis, acts of kindness, self-care. um, I tell, like, just a little thing: go out, do that, go change, go get that makeover that you've always wanted, go do it. Go do something today that you would never think of doing, and do it. Like, just today, go do something that you always say, oh, no, 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 I would never do that. Go and do it. Like, it takes a lot. It takes changing things, right? That I've
Oh
always
yeah.
like that, right? And they come back and they say, Lynn, I'm so glad what you told me. I actually had courage, and I went and I did it, and I feel so good about myself. And when I hear clients say that, it's just, I'm like, oh, that's why I do it. That's why I do this, because
Oh,
I want them to say, I couldn't do it before, and now I can do it. And it gives them confidence, and you can see they're getting stronger, and you can see they're getting further and further away past that narcissist, because they're gaining confidence, right? They're gaining self-esteem. So, and
yeah.
it just gives me, that's why I do it, because I don't want to see these people suffer like I did too, right? And like you did.
It, and
I want.
suffering is the perfect word too, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah, I've always loved to help people, take them from sadness to joy for years, all through my life. Actually, I've sort of been, and I would have people come up to me and say, Lynn, I have a problem, but I don't really know who to talk to about it. Like, but I think I could try. Do you have a couple of minutes? I just like to talk to you about something. And I say, sure, tell me all about it. Like, what's going on? Is something wrong? Is something good? Like, what's going on? So I guess feeling they can trust me, I won't, when and of course, everything that I'm, like my program, it's all confidential. I'm not a gossipy person, and I'm not
Mhm.
well, we all gossip a little bit. I'm not going to be phony like that, but um, I'm always been the type, if someone comes in and tells me something and they're hurt and they're in pain and they want to let it out to me, I would never. I take that in private, and I keep it there. And it's same with my clients, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I call myself the vault, from that old Seinfeld episode. But
Yeah.
if someone tells me something in confidence, it will stay in confidence. I kept a secret once for 5 years, and it's like,
Wow.
if I can do that, I can do anything. But one of the things I want to ask you is, as women, do you feel we're very hard on ourselves in terms of putting ourselves first?
Oh yeah. Some aren't, like some narcissist women aren't.
There we go again. Yeah.
Anyway, not talking about them, just normal, women. Yeah, I think we're conditioned. A lot of us are afraid to, or we don't know how to, like, because we've always been conditioned to think of, mom and dad, or we got to think of the husband or the kids, or like for me, for instance, I raised my children, my husband, like it was all about them. And you get to the point where, well, what about me? And as my children got older, I realized I have to start thinking for myself. What do I like? I want to go back to doing some photography. I want to go back to doing some things that I like, right? But I think I think through life, yeah, some women are, and they're conditioned to think of others, and it's selfish to go out and buy a really gorgeous dress, and like it's selfish to do that. Like they're conditioned that it's like a selfish thing to do things for yourself, but actually it's the reverse. If you don't, it's like putting an air mask on in an airplane. If you don't put it on yourself first, you can't help others. And it's the same with this. If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of others, right? So
Exactly. And that's such a great point. And I started small. I
mhm,
didn't run out and get the makeover, but I thought, you know what, I just want to take a bath and
mhm,
sew and
mhm.
read a book.
Right, you
And
just
even that, mine didn't even like me to read the newspaper,
wow.
so yeah, I mean, it was that much control. So, but well, how long are you going to be in there? Well, it's like, it's a bath. It makes me happy. That's so simple. It doesn't cost a thing. And so I always tell people, you can start slow if you want and work up, but you have to give to yourself and be full before you can really extend it to others.
Yeah. So he was like possessive, your ex, and he was very controlling.
Con- Controlling. He,
Yeah,
just and I eventually learned that when someone is controlling, it's because they feel no control within themselves,
yeah, that's
you
right.
know. And then one of the things I learned, which was very important for me from the Four Agreements, the book, was take nothing personally.
Hmm.
And when I realized it was never really about me, it was about what was going on inside of him, I was able to release a lot in terms of that was his problem, not mine.
Exactly.
Why would someone hate me reading the paper?
That's exactly right. And it's
You know,
exactly right. Yeah. And, at first we don't see it, but then we start to see it, like, there's nothing wrong with me reading the paper. Like, it's his problem. You start to see it, that, um, was he also demeaning, Nicole, and like very manipulative?
let me tell you how demeaning he was. And one of the things he said to me is he told me, he says, this right at the end, he goes, "You're uneducated and untrained." Because he felt that piece of paper meant he was more intelligent than me, that college diploma. And
Oh,
I
okay.
told him, I said, that is really hurtful to me. He says, "I can't help it. It's true." So that is going low, in my opinion.
Yeah, see what they do. They have no empathy. If you say, that's hurt, they just brush it off. There's no empathy, right?
None,
Hmm.
absolutely zero. And as I look back, I just think to myself, it happened for me, not to me, because in my line of work as well, helping people, helping them heal, you said it perfectly, because you said if you don't go through it, you don't really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agree with that. And
Mm-hmm.
having gone through that with him, and he still doesn't know he's a narcissist. He has no idea, I guarantee you.
Wow.
But as I stand back and look, I'm not saying I didn't hurt when I went through it, but I'm grateful that I lived through it. I now understand it, and I overcame it.
And that's an awesome thing to have done. Very, very awesome to have done
Thank
that.
you.
And
Thank you.
you now have a great life, and you're narc free. And yeah, it takes a lot of strength, and it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of resilience, to do this. But they say if you have desire for something, you have 90% of it done right there. If you have the desire for something,
Wow.
you have 90% right there done. So yeah, it seems like you and I, we both desired to not play this victim role, right? And to get out of it and be the thriver. So that's what
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
you have to
And I'm talk about gratitude journal right there. I think the first entry should be get rid of the person, get rid of the narcissist. I'm grateful I got rid of him,
do.
if I were to do that journal. But, you talk about amazing. And we're getting towards the end, I want to hear about you being the woman of inspiration in Canada in 2020. Tell us about that. That's exciting.
Yeah, that was an exciting time. It was she's a media girl up here. She works in Hollywood too. She works in California too, but she's a Canadian, and she lives up where I am. And we had this was a few years ago, but we had I think it was on her podcast. She has a podcast. Her name is Tracy Lamori. She's a media girl. I was on her podcast, and about a day later, she says, "I've messaged one Woman of Inspiration Canada. I'm going to nominate you for Woman of Inspiration." And I thought, "Oh, this is a scam." Like, I thought at the time, this is a scam. Like, what is going on here, right? So, and then in a half an hour later, she goes, "Lynn, you're in. You're registered in to be nomination for Women of Inspiration Canada 2020." And I said, "What? Really?" And she says, "Yeah." And there's other women too. I wasn't just the one, but just to be nominated. And then the girl that was the head of it came on a talk with me and was telling me, like asking me similar questions to what you're asking me, and how did I get into the narcissism thing and all that. And she said, "Lynn, it's an amazing story." And she said, "I myself have been touched by narcissism as well." So yeah, and then we had a huge Zoom call with all the nominees. It was really exciting to be nominated for that. And she just said, "Lynn, I'm acknowledging your work. Like you are doing it's such a great thing to turn your life around like you have, and now you're helping others, right? And to take it from being a victim to being a thriver and helping others." I go, "Oh, thank you so much." And I go, "Well, I just wanted this." And she said, "It's amazing. Like, I just wanted to nominate you because," and I was named for another thing too. I was on her podcast, and she invited me with two other girls, and then we finished the podcast, and then she also nominated me for Coach of the Year. It was in South Africa, but
Wow.
she has her own thing going. Like, she's quite a big coach and does a lot of good things. So I was asked. It was the same thing. So I guess what I'm learning is people see if you're trying at something, if you have a goal, if you have a strong belief in something, and if you're creating content, you're connecting, you're touching pain points, you want to help others, people can see it, and they know that this person is trying to help, right? And they see that, and they're drawn to it, right? So yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
Hmm.
I know we're at the end here, but I do want to let you know that I think you're very inspirational as well. I can see why you won that award.
Thank you so much.
You've been you've
kind.
just been a pleasure to talk to. And when you relate with someone, it really makes it more fun.
It
So
does.
I love that you're open about it. I think,
Yeah,
we really need to be open about these things so other people have the courage to come forward,
that's the
you
whole thing.
know.
Yeah, and once they sense that you're open and okay with it, then they start to open up, right? But yeah, a lot of people still have the stigma, or they're afraid to, I don't want to say anything, but it's not like that anymore, Um, and a lot of people that I do coach, they are very open about their situation, and they want to heal, right? Because if you're not going to be open, you're not going to heal, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Perfect way to put that. And I want to thank you for being on today. You've been an absolute pleasure. And to our audience out there, I do have links where you can get a hold of Lynn. As you can see, she is knowledgeable, she is wise, and she is an inspiration. So I'm so glad you were here.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
the compliments. I try.
You are so welcome. And I will be back next Monday with another amazing co-author. And believe it or not, that will be 2025. So
Wow.
I'm very excited about going into a new year with a lot of plans, with a lot of people coming on this podcast, so willing to help other people. And truly, I think that Jim and Jim put this book together to help people. And I think we're all doing that as co-authors.
Very nice to meet you, Nicole.
You too. Take care, and I'm sure we will talk again, Lynn. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Lynn, for being here.
Thank you so much.